here I am in the chapel that belongs to, or was made by Mary Watts, wife of George Watts. As you can see, it's beautiful. The artwork is truly amazing. And I see a lot of esoteric going on in the artwork. So we have the 4 high angels, 1, 2, 3, 4. These high angels are, the 4 angels closest to God are seraphim, burning angels, and belong to the highest order of the celestial hierarchy. They are clothed in crimson colour of love and life, and with uplifted hands in the sign of a blessing. And I'm going to try and go forward. When I was in Armenia, we were shown what she has in her right hand. Thumb on the 3rd finger is the blessing that they use out there. It was interesting to see it here. So we have all the cherubs representing the soul, little children's faces. For me, the soul is represented by the unicorn, but of course symbolism is relevant to what the person thinks. And around each of the 4 angels, the 4 seraphim, are 6 plaques. For example, on this one there is inspiration, aspiration, meditation, the word was God, balance, sacrifice, mercy. Over on this one, we have unity, order, law. In the beginning was the word, truth, justice, power. And the word is important. The word was what created everything, like the spell. So the whole world started with a spell because it began with a word. And we have here, I don't know if we can see it properly, one of the paintings by George Watts himself. And some of this art, as you can see, it's kind of 3D-like, lots of copper. And I see here, I think of it as the tree of life, going up, up, up. Everything's interwoven. And I see on this one over here, one of my favourite symbols. See if I can get it. The 3 circles, 3 spinnings, quite a pagan symbol. The colouring's fantastic, isn't it? But everything's interwoven, so everything's connected, as it is in the universe. But George Watts was concerned about our times, and he wrote, "Inevitable social and political measures claim obedience, which may be at variance with the spiritual and ethical conscience. But there comes in the question of necessity apparent laws that contest with pure right and wrong. And as we must live, nothing remains but commerce, and commerce cannot be carried on without competition and pushing the limits of our interests. The result of competition can only be conflict, war, unless some other outlet can be found. Commerce will not supply this. Its very activity, which is its health and life, will produce the ambition, envy, and jarring interests that will be fatal to peace. The principal movement must have its outlet, its safety valve. There has always been war. The goddess trade, the modern Pandora, has in her box all the evils that afflict mankind. How can commerce, as understood by the principles of trade, abolish war? The simple principles of right and wrong are easily, let me just turn the page, are easily defined and perhaps easily painted. But the complexity of human affairs and legitimate interests conduct into the activity demanded by the Great Law movement, make some elasticity necessary, even where there is the most honest desire to be just. And this is one of the problems of our world at the moment, the lack of moral justice. Now, it's quite interesting that some of these angels have faces and some of them don't. And normally angels, their faces are too, they say, bright or too powerful for us to see. We will die if we look upon an angel's face. So it's interesting how these ones are depicted. Some have faces, as you can see, some don't. So, but the souls of the righteous are in the hands of God. Their hope is full of immortality, which is what we're all striving towards, this immortality. And to do that, we need to develop ourselves. We won't be immortal being just an ordinary human being that's not awake. As the Christ said, as many gurus have said, we have to die and be resurrected and reborn. But that's not a physical death as such, it's a death of the old way and becoming the new, improved, better version of yourself. We want to become the angels. That's the next stage in our evolution. But we have to be worthy. So we have to develop ourselves. We have to understand that the Word was God and that we are the Word as well, because everything was made by God. We want to make ourselves the Word, and it's very difficult in this material world when, as G.F. Watts reminds us, commerce seems to be the ruler of everything, and spirituality and conscience is forgotten, is even poo-pooed in this day and age. What does this painting say to you? Whoever that is holding the world. Is it God? And one of the things I've been looking at lately is people's trauma. And it was pointed out to me, which I found very interesting, that many people have children, but these people that have children, these new parents, they've still got all the trauma of their past lives and their life that they've had growing up. And they have these beautiful little children who are innocent and full of love and are carefree and don't understand the way of the world. And this sometimes triggers parents because they've become traumatised. They used to be like that themselves, but they were traumatised in their childhood. And when they are triggered, they cannot help but take it out on these innocent little children and traumatise them. But the children don't understand that, do they? They don't understand why parents turn on them. But if we were in a world where people came from a more esoteric spiritual point of view, they would understand what they were doing, and all this heartbreak and trauma would not occur. We're a materialistic world at the moment, and as G.F. Watts says, it's forgotten the spiritual, sorry, I said the wrong thing then, the spiritual.